Good evening, friends, and welcome to another edition of the Bill Crane Report with my sidekick, Duane Weiss. I am Bill Crane. Good news for you folks at home, because you've been part of this. The Committee on Brilliance in Broadcasting has chosen our show not only on content, but on our presenting a wide variety of subjects for debate. We were awarded 5 stars, the highest rating for the show. We thank the committee members for choosing us. The committee, by the way, is composed of Duane, myself, and Harvey the cat. And it was only a 2-to-1 vote, by the way.
Who voted against this?
Harvey.
That's what I thought. That Harvey.
So
you can't trust them.
I have cut him off the cat treats.
There you
no
go.
more cat treats.
There you go.
Just straight chow. So, with that good news to cheer you folks up, let's dive right into the program. Last time out, we talked about wondrous things, and I ended up with a few that I didn't get to. So I thought for a little bit we'd do that, and then we'll turn to ugly things.
We'll be nice first.
For a bit. Great things. Coming home. You know, there's nothing like going on a trip or going off for 2 years in the Army or whatever.
That's when coming home really
Coming
meant
home
something.
really matters, yeah.
Really
I
matters.
was gone for 20 months. And coming home to America
Yep.
after 20 months in Germany, which, by the way, was not horrible service by any
No, it
stretch
still
of
wasn't
the
home,
imagination, but it wasn't home. You're absolutely right. So that was a great thing.
I remember seeing the coastline come when I came back from Vietnam.
Yeah.
And I could see the California
that was-
coastline.
yeah.
You got all excited. Everybody got elated then, you know. Because the whole plane is kind of sleepy until they saw the coastline.
Pretty
and
good.
The
Pretty
whole
good
place got
feeling.
loud.
Yeah. I went over to Germany on the USS Simon Bolivar Buckner.
Oh, you went on a boat?
Yeah.
A ship?
And I
I'm sorry,
got to tell you, that was we ran 4 troop ships back and forth to Europe all the time.
What were the conditions on that?
Horrible.
That's what I thought.
Yeah. There was the Rose, the Buckner, the Derby, and the Rose. I'll think of them.
How long,
Anyway.
How long crossing?
8 days.
8 days.
Yeah, and the captain said there was a very, very severe northern Atlantic storm. So he was determined he was going to go north of it. Yeah, he went right into it.
And where do they berth in Europe? They go to
Bremerhaven.
okay.
Yeah. And then we hopped on a train and went down to Stuttgart. And then just kind of marched in place for a week or so and then said, you, here's your orders.
So you went over as a unit?
No.
No?
No.
Just a lot of people.
I was just a replacement
Okay.
in 7th Army. I was trained as a chaplain's assistant.
Well,
Yeah. I wanted to go to Germany. And we had one of those get-togethers, career day. And they gave us a pitch on everything you could volunteer for. MPs, MP dog handler, Army Security Agency. Then there was a couple, airborne.
yeah. Oh boy, you should have took that.
Yeah, I was thinking about that.
Yeah, for about 2 seconds.
Anyway, the last one was chaplain's assistant. And I said, whoa, wait a minute now.
How much trouble can I get in there?
8 weeks, clerk typist school, 1 week chaplain's assistant school, and they said, we especially need Catholic chaplain's assistants in Germany. Guarantee you Germany if you sign up. And as soon as, it all broke down and you went to different, I headed right for that chaplain's assistant's job and signed up.
Smart move.
It was good. Yeah, guaranteed me Germany, and then I didn't fit with the second chaplain we got, and he squeezed me out. I ended up at the motor pool. I wanted to stay at the post I was at, so I stayed. It was great. Yeah, it was really good. Had a wonderful time. No complaints.
You're right. There's nothing like coming home though from the military.
Get that part right. Remembering old friends and meeting new friends. You know, nothing I enjoy better than seeing an old friend and getting caught up and chatting for a while and all that kind of good things. And going around the country selling, you know. Then coming back 3 months later or every 3 months or something like that was interesting way of doing business. It was an interesting life, and I enjoyed it.
I don't see my classmates and stuff from high school because we went to school out in the Midwest.
Sure, all different ways too afterwards.
And then once in a while the reunion. We go back to that area at least once a year. Once in a while you run into somebody,
Sure.
or else we'll call somebody and then meet them. But you know, Monica, my wife, and I were both in the same class, and some of these kids I haven't seen. I mean, sometimes there's some I haven't seen in 50 years since we graduated.
Yeah, well, I got one guy that keeps me up to date on who's died in that class.
We've only lost one.
Really?
One. Yep.
Holy cow, we've lost a fistful.
But we didn't have a very big class either.
Yeah. How big was the class?
28.
Well, that was my 8th grade class.
Okay,
Norfolk was 28. We had 75 in the first class at King Philip.
10 boys and 18 girls.
Oh man, you were dead, huh?
Well, we had
Outnumbered.
We had a tough time at the
Where'd you
prom
go?
because the boys didn't want to go. The girls said, "What are we gonna do?"
Mentoring. You know, I enjoyed mentoring. Bringing a young person into either the operation or into our little companies or whatever. It was a lot of fun.
You know, we both had a chance to do that professionally because we were both sales managers.
Right.
And you brought people in. A lot of times you got somebody right off the street.
Yep.
Yep. So their sales experience a lot of times was nothing.
Yeah. Yeah. And so much of it depended on their personality.
Oh yeah.
I mean, you know, you bring. I've said this to my wife too. You know, we've gone to old McDonald's or Burger King or one of the outlets, and we've bumped into a sales girl or a counter girl or something that just oozed personality.
Oh yeah.
And I said to my wife, if I were still working, I'd hire her in a heartbeat. Yeah. I'd offer her anything.
Well, you know she's going to go.
She is going to make it. You know, because you can't teach personality. You got it or you don't.
Yep.
Yeah. Teaching Sunday school, CCD.
That I've had no experience with. I know you have.
Yeah,
My wife has, but
that was a very satisfying experience. It was a lot of fun. The kids were great. Now, some of them didn't want to be there.
I can't believe that.
Yeah, it's tough to believe. Well, I'll tell you one thing that was funny. I realized we weren't going to get anything out of the instruction book.
No.
Nothing. So what I would do would be to read the instruction book, the chapter that we were to talk about, pick out what I thought was the 3 or 4 important points, the big things, and then think about past experience or things that had happened in history or whatever that I could relate to these. Yeah.
That's the biggest thing with kids.
Yeah.
Rote memory or something dry out of a textbook, forget it. They don't have any concept. You can't hook onto it.
Nothing at all. But here's the interesting, because we had either 10 or 12 kids, each one of us teaches. So at the end of class, the last night, I said to them, by the way, kids, show of hands. Who studied the book? No hands. Who opened the book? No hands. And I told, the folks higher up in CCD, have the teacher have a master book and teach out of that.
Sure.
What are we wasting money? $6 or $8 or $10 a piece on these. But the church says you got to do it that way.
But it's not just kids. I've been to sales meetings where they've had some kind of seminars going, and these forum seminars, and say, all right, this is your homework tonight. Read these case studies and go back, sit down. And these are all middle management people up. And the guy stands there and he starts talking and he looks at See a lot of blank faces. Did anybody read this? No. And we were all down the hospitality suite all night.
Brought my wife to a sales meeting out in Las Vegas. And we went out 2 days early. We were told to. Go out Saturday.
We've done that going to some places.
And the boss said, use your credit card, use your American Express card. When we're in classes, give it to your wife. Tell her to go out shopping. It's all on the company. And the schedule was Monday morning, 9 o'clock. And we talked about what we were going to do for the week. And about 11:30, all right, let's hit lunch and the golf courses. And if you're not going to play golf, you're free to do whatever you're going to do.
Yep.
And that was it for 4 days. Thursday morning was breakup. And you need to get out of your hotel room by Saturday. Now that was quite a sales meeting. And
It was.
It was the newest and largest of the hotels out in Las Vegas on the Strip. Oh, jeepers. But the old memory bank isn't working that great.
How long ago?
10 years ago, 11 years ago.
MGM was already old, or been there long before that. Yeah.
I think it was next to the one that had the ceiling that was a sky inside in the lobby.
Caesars?
No? I'll think of it.
Bellagio?
Bellagio.
Yeah.
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 Talk about excess.
Oh, that.
Hey, by the way,
He spent. There was no end to
no,
what he wanted to
the
spend.
landing, we landed at night.
Mm-hmm. Oh,
The lights in Las Vegas, you'd swear every light in the world was lit.
and it comes on. Depends on how they approach, but usually they they come over this mountain. It's dead black outside, and they come over the backside, and boom, there it is, just laid out.
Absolutely incredible.
Yep.
I was
Yeah, you're right. I don't think anybody shuts a light off.
No, I was embarrassed.
Also, you have some pretty rough landings there when that desert winds come across.
Cross currents, I don't know, caused by heat and everything else, yeah. You know what else I like? I think are great? Owls.
Oh, me too. There.
From the little hoot owl right down to the big great horned owl. I think they are fantastic.
I've only seen 3 or 4 in my lifetime. It was a while. I remember one time as a kid, we would living where we lived. Everybody skated, and so at night we'd go this little skating. All they did was plow a field and put a berm of snow around it and open up fire hydrant.
Sure.
And I kind of had to go through a little woodsy area to get through it. And I walked through, and this owl apparently was sitting in a tree right over the top of me, and it's dead pitch black. And he let out a whoo. I must have jumped 4 feet in the air.
My grandfather was, my dad and mother were divorced when I was young. My grandfather assumed a lot of the father figure. And he was great. He was absolutely great. And we'd do things like fishing and hunting and shooting and trapping. But he'd also take me down the woods all the time, at night. Listening for owls and stuff like that. So,
Woods are altogether different at night.
Yep, little hoot owls. They can make a lot of noise for a little bird.
Yeah, they do.
The comedy of the Three Stooges.
Oh, me too. It's my wife says it's a man thing.
Yeah.
She says that is the stupidest thing I've ever seen. How can you sit and watch that stuff? I says I think it's great. That's not funny.
Anytime you want to borrow them, I've got all
Yeah, I
164 of them. I think they're great.
Me too.
The comedic geniuses.
Yep.
Oh, gosh. The artistry of the singer Diana Krall. Sort of a modern jazz singer. Plays the piano while she sings. Boy, she is good. She, maybe she's got me fooled, but it looks like she really puts her heart and soul into it.
She does. I think she really does.
Yeah.
Some of these people just go through the motions today.
Boy. A couple of times we got tickets to the South Shore Music circus when there was people coming in that we really wanted to see.
Mhm.
Judy Collins. Now, I would never cast aspersions on anyone, but I want to tell you, maybe something was wrong with her Kool-Aid that night.
Mm-hmm.
But you want to talk about going
Oh.
through the motions, no connection with the audience at all. It was like, oh, damn, is this thing over yet?
Oh, I know. We've gone to something. And, man, retirement, my friend.
Yeah.
You can't keep doing this forever. They think they can.
Gordon Lightfoot was another one. I mean, he was actually acted like he was put out that he was there.
Yep.
Wow. I mighty disappointed in those two.
We go to see some of the groups, the older groups. Sometimes they're not the group they were. Sometimes there's just one or two characters left. And a couple of them actually got a little better. You know, one that comes to mind is Guess Who. And the first time we saw them, there was only the bass player and the drummer. The rest of them were dead, I think. You know, back in the '60s, an American woman.
Yeah.
But then, well, the next time we saw it was just the bass player.
A
Somebody said
dwindling species.
Honest to God, somebody said the drummer fell
Well,
down, broke a hip.
Do you know the four freshmen have had a complete turnover?
Oh yeah, a lot of these
they're
stuff,
all
there's
done. Yeah.
There's nobody left.
Yeah. But I know Peter, Paul, and Mary, and I'm not sure whether all three are still alive or not.
No,
No.
I can't tell you who is and who isn't. I just recently saw it was a rerun
Yep.
on Rhode Island PBS.
That's right.
Did you see that?
I think I saw
Oh,
it.
they were really good. That was probably their last. I
Yep.
think that's probably one of their last major
Yeah.
appearances.
Yeah. Yeah. They had good music. You know who I really liked was ABBA. That
Yeah,
was
I
my
did too.
favorite group of
Yep.
all times. Yeah. There is nothing like watching kittens playing.
Oh, we both like cats.
Yeah. Those little rascals can do more crazy things.
Yeah,
and
they're
then
nuts.
run around the room like madmen. Then the next time you look, they're sound asleep.
Yeah, oh yeah.
They are hot tickets. You know, what was a great thing is how this country came together and mobilized during World War II to defeat tyranny, and the courage of our young men as they went off to serve and
Yep.
save our country.
That was a refreshing thing to see. Obviously, I didn't see it because I was born towards the end of the war. It hadn't gotten over yet, but as a toddler or infant, I don't remember it. But if you look back in history, everybody pulled together for a common cause.
Yeah.
There wasn't this derision and this
It's the
trouble
last
here and
time our
trouble
country
here.
was united.
Yep, exactly.
I was born in 1940,
Yep,
so I remembered when I was 3 or 4.
yep.
I remembered, we saved that for our boys overseas. We don't get any butter because it goes to our boys overseas. People would scrap drives for
Yeah,
our
oh, yeah,
boys
yeah.
overseas. And everything was united behind our boys overseas.
Even saved fat, didn't they?
Yeah,
that's
Yeah.
about-
yeah. And of course, my grandfather had a garden, and chickens, and all that stuff, and eggs, and we'd go fishing, and we had a little brook down back of the house. Still there, but we had native trout in it.
Did you?
Yeah. And we'd catch 3 or 4 and bring them up, and Grandpa would cook them and all of that. But those days of pulling together, of we're pulling apart rather than pulling
Yeah.
together
And everybody-
in this country.
Got by,
They did.
even though things sometimes were hard to get.
Yep.
Sugar, tires, gasoline,
Meat.
yeah.
Yep.
But everybody got by. Everybody helped everybody else.
Yep. And I think I've told this story before. And if I have, folks, this would be a good time to go to the bathroom. If you've already heard it. But my father made a big deal out of the fact that he was bringing home hamburger for supper on Thursday night. He was getting it, black market hamburger.
Okay, sure.
So let me tell you, we were all set for hamburgers. And he brought it home, and it was great. And I told him, you know, as an adult, you know, we're talking about different memories. And I said, you know, Dad, I'll never forget you bringing home the hamburger.
Mhm.
And we had hamburger during the war. I said, you got it from Tony's Market in Walpole. He says, yeah, you're right, Billy, I did. He said, but you're wrong about it being hamburger. It was horse meat.
Yep.
It was good.
Well, I've never had horse meat, but I got to believe it's, if you didn't know what it was,
Yeah.
you'd eat it and enjoy it.
The dedication of doctors and nurses and policemen and firemen.
Mm-hmm.
You know, that's a line, it's an avocation that you got to love to do.
Oh yeah, yeah.
And I've met so many policemen, firemen, totally dedicated to the job. In the same with the doctors and nurses. Well, I don't think anybody works harder than a nurse.
Oh my, they got to cover so many patients, and
Yeah.
they're just constant going.
Yeah, always, and then always you get the bell ringing, too hot or too cold in the room or what. But yeah, and they maintain a cheery disposition. Now they're great people. I tip my cap to all of them. This is a little maudlin here, but all of the gifts given to us, including the gift of life by a compassionate, loving God who we neglect to thank often enough for all that we have. We take it for granted. But when you think of the world that He created for us, nature, the beauty of it, and I don't thank Him enough, I know that. But the wondrous thing. Oh, now, this next thing. People who can fix things.
Oh my, you've always got one someplace around here.
I got a brother-in-law,
Yep.
Rick, who I swear we could bring a plutonium bomb in here.
Yep, I had a friend like that.
Yeah,
It's just-
and Rick could fix it.
Yep.
Yeah, well, you see it goes to you. There's nothing that guy cannot fix.
yeah, oh
And
yeah.
I've met other people. My grandfather could fix things. But you know, when you're born and you lived through the Depression and then through World War II, you make do with what you got. And you know what? Something breaks, you gotta fix it.
You know, this friend of ours, his name was Ron, and he could. There wasn't an appliance in the house that he couldn't take apart. There wasn't anything. I never saw anything. One time, we had a Super Bowl party, and this was years ago. And we had remember the council, the big TVs.
Oh yeah.
It was only like, I don't know, 29, 31 inch, 30 inch
Yeah.
or something. But in those days, it was a big deal. But its days had come and gone, and they weren't the flat screens, but they were the bigger
Yeah.
upper sets.
Yep.
And I said, oh man, I really like one of them. I said, this thing just won't die.
I got one of
So-
them.
It wouldn't die. So we had the Super Bowl party,
Didn't
and one
die?
of the kids spilled a soda or Coke on it.
Oh really?
It ran down the back, it sizzled and snapped and spit sparks and smoke, and it went out. Of course, the kid's just devastated. I said, no. I said, Megan, that's fine. I said, I've been waiting for this thing to die. We got more TVs to watch. I said, for the Super Bowl, thank you. Doesn't Ron say, give me a hairdryer and a screwdriver? He's back there taking the thing apart. I said, you're going to die. I said, there's about 1,000 volts in these things. And doesn't he start pulling out parts? And got the hairdryer, and he's got parts all over the floor. And next thing I know, he's putting them all back together. He screws it. He says, turn it on. Boop, it works. I said, oh, my God.
You didn't know whether to kiss him or kill him.
I want to do both. But just the idea, who would dig in the back of a TV like that?
I know. I've got a 32-inch Sony. Now, one of the last of the great big ones.
Yep.
You know, the heavyweights.
So I got a
and
32 Toshiba sitting
Yep.
there.
Great
By the
picture.
way, anybody want it?
Great picture.
Yep.
I'm waiting for it to die. It won't die.
It won't die.
No. So I can get a flat screen for the living room. I got a flat screen upstairs in the man cave, but it's an old 32, but it's a nice picture. But I've been waiting for this thing it just won't die.
And you can't give them away either.
No.
I've tried that.
Well, and not only that, you can't lift them and carry them by
No,
yourself. I mean, it's like picking up a railroad car.
I was thinking about some night, if they weren't so heavy, I'd just pick it up, take it over to somebody's house, ring the doorbell, set it down there, and ring the doorbell and run.
Put it in the kid's Halloween bag. Fenway Park. That is an experience.
Yes, it is. I think we're going to have some different opinions.
Oh. Coming up out of down below on a night game and going out and seeing that green field, the green stadium,
is nice.
It is just a thing of beauty.
I am not a fan of Fenway Park. I think it's old. It should have been blown up years ago.
Mm-hmm.
It's a dump.
Okay, it is uncomfortable.
Absolutely.
There are seats
Bad
in the
seats.
wrong direction.
You
They're
got
too
it.
damn small. They're uncomfortable as hell. And the
It's got
aisles.
rats. It's got.
Oh, yeah. Well, I was in there. Well, maybe I saw it on TV. But there was a rat on the field.
Oh yeah.
And one of the utility ball players ran out with a first baseman's mitt and scooped him up and brought him back in the dugout.
You go to some of these other parks, and I says, "What is with Boston? Why do they keep this dump?"
I think it's got something to do with the antiques.
You know what? Somebody said to me, he says, "It's got tradition."
Yeah, interesting.
And you know what I said? You know, if you grew up on a farm with an outhouse, and that outhouse is there with 30 years, that outhouse has got tradition, but it's still an outhouse.
Now, from the Midwest, did you have the same traditions that on Halloween you'd go tip over people's outhouses?
It happened. It also happened somebody fell in doing that. And they wouldn't let him in the car to go home. I didn't fall in, but I was pretty close to the situation.
But I know my grandfather told me that on Halloween, that's what they used to do, go tip over outhouses.
Yeah. Oh, that was disgusting.
And my grandfather also told me that he had a chance to pick up a skunk alive. I saw him do this, by the way, when I was a kid, and I did it myself as an adult. A skunk get his head trapped in a mayonnaise jar.
That happens.
Yep.
Yep.
And if you approach him very quietly, and,
Yeah, I
and
understand
he used
that.
to go like that. Pick him up by the nape of the neck like a cat, and just take him right off, just whoop, throw him like that, and run the other way, no problems. And he found one, and he had an uncle that was down at Highland Lake on Seekonk Street. That was a stop for the train. They would stop and take passengers up and let passengers out. In fact, that was at one time, going way back, that was the main stop. The center of town wasn't. And they had a little, it looked like an outhouse, shack, for the guy that held the stop sign when the train was coming. You know, he'd walk up the middle of the road. And they used to torment him. And it was one of my grandfather's, I think, uncles or something. But he'd always have a little fire water in there. Grandpa got a skunk, and he was, oh man, he said, I wonder if I can get it all the way down there, because he's asleep during the day in the shack. He just opened the door, threw the skunk in, shut the door, and ran like hell. That must have been lovely.
The other guys could laugh.
Yeah.
You know, the thing that outhouse tipping, another one. Now, folks, I want to dispel a myth right here. There is no such thing as cow tipping. Everybody says, oh, we went cow tipping. They are lying. I grew up on a dairy farm. Cows don't sleep standing up. Horses can sleep standing up.
Yeah, you can't tip one of them over.
No, cows lay down to sleep, and you're not going to, I don't care how stealthy you are not going to sneak up on a cow. They got ears about this big, and they can hear you 40 feet away or 100 feet away from you. And everybody says, oh, we went cow tipping. No, you did not.
Well, I'm glad we straightened that out.
If nothing else, we did something today.
Here's something else, too. I look back on it. Learning in school. You know, I enjoyed some of the classes in school.
I did
Learning.
too, some of them, yeah.
History, geography, science.
Yep,
That was great stuff.
yep.
Literature.
Yeah, now you're getting into those.
Algebra, and yeah, I kind of went downhill. Latin.
Oh my God, that was wasted 2 years with me. I'll
Yep.
tell you.
That was bad stuff. You know, I don't know what the big, thing is about Latin. Nobody speaks Latin anymore.
No.
It's a dead language.
It's a dead.
Let it lie.
Yeah, I don't. I know it's still taught some places.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
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 It's a good root language, though. It does. But my contention was, they said, well, if you know Latin, if you study Latin, you can accelerate in German and Spanish and some of the other Romance languages. But my contention is, well, if you take 2 years of Latin, why didn't you, and you want to go into Spanish, just take 2 more years of Spanish instead of those 2 years of Latin, you'd be further ahead.
Way further ahead.
Yep.
One of the great things, reading.
Oh, I always loved to read. I
Love
still do.
reading. Love reading. What's the best book you ever read?
Best book I ever read? Danger Hour, among one of them. I'm not real big on fiction. I do like nonfiction books. I think Unbroken was just unbelievable. Let's see. I got to go back and take that back. There's been a couple of fictions that I really enjoyed too. And I know you're going to think this is weird, but it was Stephen King. It was called The Stand.
Yeah.
It was about 800 pages long.
A lot of his go that length, yeah.
And he came out twice with it. The first time he came out with it, the publisher said, no, nobody's going to keep it. It was like 900 pages. They said, no, we got to cut that down to 6. Nobody's going to want to read it that way. And so he did. And then about 10 years later, he got out with a second edition. And he brought not only the original, but he expanded even further. And he brought the scenarios in to be very modern. But that book had a lot of teaching to it. Good versus evil.
Yeah.
The disease broke out of this lab and spread. You know, when the Ebola happened here, when it started getting everybody concerned, that's the first thing I thought it was that book. How all of a sudden something got loose in a lab.
Did you
got
read
out.
Pet Cemetery?
Oh yeah. Oh my God. Creepy.
That gets your attention.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think the best book I ever read was probably The Source by James Michener.
Yep. That was excellent.
Yeah, that was really super. In Rise and Fall of the Third Reich by
Albert
Shira.
Speer. Which one?
William Shira.
Shira or Speer?
Shira.
Okay.
Yeah. And Shira wrote a couple of other books in the 30s. And he was a correspondent in Germany. And he was watching Nazis grow in power and in influence. And he was an eyewitness to all of that. And when you read, the book actually was his dispatches from Germany back here for publication back here. And how he predicted so much of what happened was Something from Berlin was the name of it. And he also wrote another one that was sort of as an afterthought to it. It was a lot to do with the social scene. But he met some of the Germans in social scenes and some of the other diplomats that were over there. And it was a very interesting book if you're interested in that genre. Yeah. But I read a book a week. Yeah. I like some of the brainless fiction. You don't have to concentrate on it,
No.
But it's a great little escape.
One time at the Norfolk Library, I had been taken out. I would go there once or twice a week, and I don't know. I had military books, books about this, books about that, but disasters in the Atlantic. And I went up there and I forgot which one wasn't, which person was working that day. She said to me, she says, "You ever read happy books?"
Trying to watch this show.
Yeah, she didn't watch the show.
Well, one of the other wondrous things, Bill's Barber Shop in the center of
Oh,
Foxborough.
we just came from there, both of us.
Dave
You may
Gaffey,
notice I lost my shaggy dog. Look.
Yeah. Dave Gaffey runs the place. His dad Bill had run it for 1,000 years, and Bill
Oh,
must
Bill.
have cut my hair 1,000 times, and now it's Dave's turn.
Bill had a history there in Foxborough. He was a selectman.
Yep,
And he was well known in town.
very well known and well liked.
Oh yeah, everybody liked him.
Yeah, he was a funny guy too. He'd get if there was nobody in the shop, you could get him going, and he'd start telling you stories, and
This is an old-fashioned barber shop.
yeah,
There's not many of them around anymore. This is what you see be an old-fashioned barber shop. Funny signs on the wall. People bring in military patches and things. They got them displayed. And you go in there once in a while, there'd be people waiting. You think, well, no, they're just in there talking.
yeah.
And they sit around, they discuss what's going on in town. They know everything what happened in the high school, every athlete, everything that's going on. I remember one time I went in, I sat down, and there's 3 guys or so in front of me. And somebody said, Dave said, "You're next." I said, "No, these 3 guys are ahead of me." He says, "No, they're staff." They were just in there, just having a good time.
Did you ever know the old guy that used to come in with the thick glasses, the sunglasses? I think his last name was Roach.
No, I probably never ran into him.
What a character he was.
Mm-hmm.
He carried cane, used to cane, and the cars didn't stop for him in the crosswalk. He'd wave the cane at him, call him about 5,000 names, and oh God, what a character!
I lucked out Tuesday. I got a place right in front of the.
Yeah. Well, okay,
Right.
now,
Parking
I don't
spot.
want anybody, now, not one of you people, I don't want you to listen to this, because this is a great tip. So you just go in the kitchen and get a bowl of fruit or something. Here's the secret to Dave's. You want to be number one, go over about 12:30 to 12:40.
Okay.
One of the parking spots, and he always puts on his clock, be back
Back
at
at-
1,
yeah.
but he's always back there quarter of or 10 of. And sit in the car, when you see his gray pickup truck, hop right out, go right over, stand at the door, and you'll be number one.
Okay, good idea.
Yep, and I don't want to see you over there on the day either.
Well, I usually
down
go there when he's opening up, so there's
Oh.
nobody there.
Oh, first thing in the morning. That's the other way to do it, yeah. Any other time, he's busy.
Very busy.
Okay, so everybody's
don't even
back?
go if it's back to school or Christmas time.
Yeah, that's bad.
Every kid in the town
Yeah,
is there to get a haircut. Yeah.
And you know what? I swear Dave knows the name of every kid
He
in
does.
town and what position he plays on the football team. And by the way, Dave is another Miller High Life boy.
Oh, okay. Yep.
So he's good people.
I know.
All right, folks, we've finished with the wondrous things, the good stuff. Now we're going to go to the other side of the coin, the ugly stuff, the weather.
Whoa.
What the devil do you make of this, Duane?
Who teed off who?
Yeah. Something happened. Who the heck got the wires crossed? Sent all this crap.
Somebody said, the snow bunny said, "Who's ever praying for snow, stop."
That was a sign on a church.
Yeah.
If you're praying for snow, stop. But this is a double whammy, though.
Oh,
This
yeah.
is not only snow, but it's bitter cold.
I saw that. I don't know, Channel 4 or Channel 7. They said that. Somebody said, "Why doesn't the Arctic why doesn't it all empty out and there's nothing left?" He said, "What's happening is it's coming from Europe. It's swirling across Siberia and into Alaska and then swirling down onto us." Thanks a lot, Russia.
Yeah. No, I like those guys anyway.
Putin plot.
Putin. He's got a big fan over
Yeah.
there that he's blowing this stuff. But '78 we had 2 storms back to back that were pips.
Yep.
I mean, we had 25 inches in 24 hours, and then 2 weeks later we had the blizzard of 78.
But
Now-
it didn't, the cold didn't stay with it.
No, that's it.
I mean, the blizzard
cool.
78, the next day it was a nice day. When it got done,
Well-
sun came out and it was a nice.
Yeah. The well, it snowed for about 4 days, but the first storm, 25 inches in 24 hours. I was up the fire department because they put a crew on. When we get snow like that, you have guys up to the station hanging around in case there is a fire. You know, some guys are not going to be able to get up there.
That's
you know?
right.
And we had a rainstorm after that, and the whole 25 inches was gone.
Gone, yep.
Well, thank God we had that rainstorm because, boy, oh boy, if we ever had the blizzard on top of that, oh, it would be like today.
This is phenomenal. It's just, it's so fast over such a short period of time, and it just doesn't melt.
Well, it's the cold. The globe has a running thing every day of degrees and all that stuff. And year to date, I think we're
I read that too.
Yeah, I think it's 8.
My wife's wonderment. What are you seeing that stuff? The statistics and.
I know. I don't let my wife know I look at that stuff. But I think we're 8 degrees a day colder this year than normal. In February, I think it's 10.
I looked at. There's a graph. They got a graph. It's a great graph. It's a little bar graph. It shows the daily temperatures up and down. Look at it today. 2 days. It passed 30. It goes 30 days back. Only 2 days did we get to the normal high.
It's 33 when I left the house.
Yep. Today?
Yeah.
It should be 41 or 42.
Yep, that's right. I watched Met Noise this morning and last night. I figured it all runs together. 10-day forecast. Below average temperatures.
Yeah. Somebody said March 15th before they see any changes.
Yep. But thankfully, no snow on the horizon. Now that could change, you know. But right now, just cold weather.
I'm tired of it. It's been expensive. It's been difficult. And it's been dangerous.
It's a pain in the old wazoo. Yeah. Here's another swell thing to talk about. The MBTA.
Oh, well, you know what? I'm not surprised what happened. And I know it's because of the weather and the storm and stuff, but other cities have had the situations like that, and it may be temporarily disrupting them. This is going to be long lasting. And I'm going to give you a theory here, and I believe what you're seeing right here is a result of years and years and years of patronage. You get people in these jobs that should never have been in those key positions over the years. Now, when the trains are running fine, you and I don't know anything about trains, but we could do the job. We said, well, we can put this paper here, and we can put this paper here. We can make sure the platforms are swept. We can make sure the garbage cans are empty. But heaven help if something really goes off the tracks, so to speak.
Being over our heads.
We don't know what we're doing.
That's right.
This is what you got, because for years and years and years, if you wanted a job at the MBTA, you had to go through a legislator or somebody else.
Somebody with plenty of horsepower.
Yep. You didn't get a job on your own skills. You got a job on who you know.
Yep. And you know the other thing, and this is a sticky wicket, and but what the hell? We are bound and determined that we are going to make these authorities look like society.
Yeah.
So we've got to have a certain percentage
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
of this, a certain percentage of that, a certain percentage of this, and over here we've got some others.
And be damned if they're right for the job, as long as they fit in that little notch.
That's it.
Yep.
Because, well, we've got 16% Hispanic
Yep.
in this. We've got to have 16% in the executive branch of the MBTA. But here's the thing that really drives me crazy. Crazier. they don't look at the people's qualifications.
No.
Now, I'll give you an example. Years ago, and I don't know whether this is true today or not, but years ago, if a police exam was held for patrolmen, and that you had scores of 92 for O'Leary,
Yeah.
85 for Murphy, and 70 for another fellow.
Yep.
Well, if the other fellow happened to be a minority, he got the job.
Yep.
Because you had to put a minority in place. Well, listen, we've got to be all inclusive. I understand that, and I agree with that. But the inclusive part also means qualified.
Right.
Damn it.
That has taken precedent, though.
Yeah, it has. And you take a look at the people that are embroiled in this controversy right now. Scott, the lady that's running the MBTA. You know, I'll bet you she's a very nice lady. She's
Probably a
probably
great
grandmother.
administrator. Probably a great administrator.
Yep.
She keeps her paperwork
Yep.
up. Everybody's time cards are in order. You know,
Sure.
but
Sure. And she's
let the wheels come off of something.
yeah.
That's a different story.
And she was a political
Yep.
appointment
Yep.
because we had to go find a person of color.
Yep. Well, look at how many directors of the Massport we've had
Yep.
that were the driver of the governor's driver
Yeah.
or somebody else, and put them in charge of Massport, a major airport, among other things,
Do you know that?
just because they know somebody.
Do you know that there was, for a while, the registrar of motor vehicles, of course, had his driver. When he retired, his driver became registrar of motor
Exactly.
vehicles.
That's the
I mean, you could take a look at them the way they step after step, you know. Well, what qualifies him to be this, you know? I'm all for bringing everyone into operations. But darn it all, they've got to be able to do the job.
But we have lived on patronage for generations here,
Yep.
and I know it blew up with the probation department.
Right.
But I think if you took the lid off any of those state agencies and looked at who was in there,
Oh,
how did you get that job? You're going to be amazed.
Well, of all places, too, the judges.
Oh,
I mean, they have brought new meaning to the word patronage, too.
yep.
The way they hired people for the courthouses, because they're always arguing about who gets to hire them.
Oh, yeah.
Absolutely incredible. And we've allowed it to happen.
Yeah, we're very, very complacent here.
Yeah, very complacent. Very complacent.
I don't see any end to it.
No.
Only thing is now, Bill, we're more aware of it.
Yep.
And before that, these people say, "Well, no, it's just there. It's always been that way." I remember when we moved here. I looked at these things and I said, "Well, you know, that's pretty cool. I'll get a job like on the MBTA." And the person I was talking to says, "Who do you know in the legislature?" I says, "Nobody." He says, "You can't get a job in the MBTA."
You
He said,
know,
unless you put a $10,000 check on your application.
well, you can't do that because that's way above and beyond. But you can put a $500 check in the mail to. That was the limit. It's just been up to 1,000.
Is it? Oh yeah.
But-
you know,
but
there's
that-
been schemes for years going on.
Oh, well.
where they're purchasing and they're
Listen, there's more than one way to get money to them. But $500 was known as the thing that opened the door.
was it 500
That got you to get in and talk to
to
them.
somebody?
Yeah. Then it was explained to you how you'd go about. And, well, now the governor needs $500
Yeah.
for his campaign. And, of course, Senator Kerry. And then, in your district, your rep needs. So, you know, when you've spread $500 in 6 different directions, you know, maybe we'll have something we can talk about.
This kind of breakdown with the MBTA, folks, is not the end of it. There's going to be other agencies.
It's
that
the
are gonna-
tip of the iceberg.
tip of the iceberg. That's right.
Yep. And I got to tell you something. This MBTA business is, we're going to have that for quite a while.
Yeah, they say good to March. It's going to go years.
Listen, it's going to take years just to clean out some of the bozos that are in there.
Yeah.
And well, I'll go if that's what you want. But can you, help
The
me
first
with
thing
the
you
pension?
hear, first thing they say, we don't have any money. That's not true. You have money, you just don't spend it wisely. Instead of upgrading your rolling stock and doing things that should have been done, converting those drive motors from DC to AC, like everybody else in the country did 25 years ago. No, we don't do that. We want to run a line into Fall River. We want to run a line into Timbuktu.
Yeah.
We want to put a line now into Foxborough.
Yeah,
Into,
that's
into the stadium.
That's dead. Baker
Yeah, but I
was
mean,
opposed to that.
that's where they want to spend their
Yeah.
money. In the meantime, the rolling stock is falling apart.
Well, I couldn't agree with you more. On the red line, there was a piece in the paper the other day. Out of the 900 and something cars on the, I forget the exact
Yeah.
number, but 600 of them had been built in the year 1968 and 1969. You know what that makes them? Damn close to 50 years old.
And then even when they put out the contracts, who do they go to? They go to some Korean outfit that has never built a car in their life. They're over budget. They're 5 or 10 years behind. They finally delivered a couple of them here a few months ago.
Well, the Koreans, that's a Mitsubishi Heavy Industry or something.
Yeah, something like that.
At least they're a well-known company.
Yeah.
The one that scares me is the one that's got the contract now, the Chinese.
Oh yeah, that's
Oh, that doesn't have disaster written all over it.
it. Does.
You know, all you have to do is look at the town hall, the Olive Day School, all right? The low bidder got the job. And what did we have to do? The roofs on both buildings were no damn good. We found more problems. It was like having a shakedown cruise, for heaven's sakes, when we built them. And again, it's this mentality that we have to take the low bid. Well, it's a state law. Over a certain amount of money, you have to take the low bid, and that stinks. You should investigate them and take the best quality product at a reasonable price. Jeepers creepers. Oh, boy.
Told you it was going to change.
It's
Went from
changing.
nice guy to
Our tax code in this country. There was
it is a code.
Yeah.
Nobody can understand it.
There was a guy on, well, it was on one of the national TV networks, tax expert. And he said, I am telling you flat out, unless you do the 1040 EZ, you got no business doing your own taxes.
No.
Because you cannot
Understand
understand it. There are things that you have to do, and there are things that you get back, credits that you have no idea about.
Right.
A tax professional is paid to know all that stuff. These computer programs are created supposedly to give you all that information.
What would you say to a simple flat tax?
No,
On income?
I wouldn't, because I really and truly believe in a graduated tax.
All right, just a simple
But
graduated.
a flat graduated
that's what-
tax.
well, yeah.
Yes. Oh, I'd be all over it.
Yeah.
I think the tax code for the individual should fit on one sheet
Yeah.
of paper.
You make $1 to 1,000. You pay, I'm just throwing out numbers. 1,000 to 10,000, 10,000 to 50,000, 50 to 100. This is the percentage. Boom.
That's it.
Well, this is what I made times this. This is what I owe.
That's it.
Yeah.
That's it exactly. The code is right there. And all of these deductions, you can depreciate your cat and, this piece of equipment. Well, now, if you buy it now, they just changed the regulations. You can depreciate it over 3 years rather than 5
Yeah,
for
yeah.
your office.
When I was in college, I think it was statistics, this Looney Tune PhD. He was always in trouble with the IRS. He tried to depreciate his brain. Because he said that's how he made his living. That's his tools. And they were always going after him.
I'll tell you, now I forget whether it's 17,000 or 70,000 pages, the tax code.
It doesn't matter. What's the difference at that point?
Yeah, at that point. I mean, it is ridiculous. The corporate rate, boy, I'm telling you, you could make that on a page or two,
Yep.
I'll tell you. You know, maybe a page for the code, and over on the other side, the charts.
Yep.
That's it.
That's it.
That's it. And these phony deductions, baloney. I love this one.
3.
My favorite.
Yep.
The Olympics 2024.
Watch out. 2 words you got to remember that. Called Big Dig.
Big dig is
Big
right.
Dig.
And one other word, politicians.
Yep.
Yeah. And look who is pushing this.
Oh, he would. Mr. Fish would.
John Fish.
He wouldn't have any interest
No.
in that. What he owns? What is he? Suffolk Construction.
Construction company?
Golly, they
they
wouldn't
do
have
anything-
anything to do with this. There's a guarantee, you know, that there's no overrides. That's easy enough to do. If you're a proponent of it, what you do, you got millions and millions of dollars. Float, each one of these guys floats a multi-million-dollar bond, and if there's an override, it comes out of your bond. If there isn't, you get it back.
You know, there are hard things that you can do to protect yourself, you know, and you need to do it.
This is going to be just a boondoggle if we get this thing.
I'll tell you what, I think we're going to have to come back to that.
Absolutely.
But the mayor of Boston, telling people that his own people who work for him, they cannot criticize.
And now he's
Now he's back.
yeah, he's backed off of that.
Man,
You
well,
know what they say? Be careful who you elect. You might get them.
you know, you're absolutely right. Where did the hour go? It flew by.
It always does.
Yep. And folks, this is tragic, but the show is coming to an end. But hold those tears back, because in a fortnight we'll be back with some more great stuff, including a surprise next week. We're going to have some pictures to show you folks. I've got some comments for the pictures, and you're going to enjoy them.
We'd like to hear from you too.
By the way, sure.
Give them the email address.
Let's see. It's trapperbill40@yahoo.com.
Yep.
And it's on the end. Now here's some more good news. Our schedule. You can find us on channel 8 on Comcast and some other channel on Verizon, 40 or 41, I don't know. But we are on Mondays at 2 p.m., Tuesdays at 9 a.m., and Thursdays at 9 p.m. prime time. So there. And on that note, we'll wish you a very pleasant good evening.
And stay warm.
And stay warm, right.
Good night.
Good night now. That's it. Beautiful.